Peace, family. I know who it is. It's Dr. Bakari K. Lumumba, progenitor of LumumbaSpeaks.com, a Black empowerment initiative where we believe we could gain a competitive advantage by always betting on Black. Glad that you're back with us again this afternoon if you're on the East Coast, in the morning if you're on the West Coast, and maybe even in the evening if you're on the continent. Today's show, I think, is one that's needed. All right, we're going to be discussing what does it take to achieve Black love. If you're watching, family, make sure you hit the subscribe and the like button. Thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up. Make sure you hit the notification bell as well. Of course, you're watching Lumumba Speaks in conjunction, once again, with Bequaline Network, the Pan-African social media extraordinaire, and the home of African-centered news and information. And we're going to be discussing what does it take to achieve Black love in conjunction, of course, with the first day of Black Love Days. Many of you may be aware or even unaware of what Black Love Days is. So very quickly, family, put a 1 in the chat if you're familiar with Black Love Days. Put a 2 in the chat if you are unfamiliar with Black Love Days. Once again, put a 1 in the chat if you're familiar with Black Love Days. And put a 2 in the chat if you are unfamiliar with Black Love Days. Once again, family, you're watching LumumbaSpeaks.com, a Black empowerment initiative where we believe we could gain a competitive advantage by always betting on Black in conjunction with Beacon Network, the Pan-African social media extraordinaire, and the home of African-centered news and information. And we're going to be discussing what does it take to achieve Black love, something I think is needed and necessary, of course, in the community. And we'll be discussing, of course, Black Love Days. So once again, family, if you are watching, if you're tapped in with us this evening or afternoon, depending on where you are, maybe even in the morning, want you to put a 1 in the chat if you're familiar with Black Love Days, and put a 2 in the chat if you are unfamiliar with Black Love Days. We definitely want to educate our brothers and sisters, as I stated on our previous broadcast. We would like to co-create a community, a learning community, an African-centered learning community here on the platform. And we can't do that without you. So once again, family, if you are watching, and we hope you are, make sure you put a 1 in the chat if you're familiar with Black Love Days, and put a 2 in the chat if you're unfamiliar with Black Love Days. And while you all are doing that, of course, I will, as always, go over some of the core rules, ground fundamental tenets here at Lumumba Speaks and Beacon Network. As we stated on numerous occasions, diversity of thought is welcome, irrespective if you're on the left, you're on the right, or right down the middle. Your opinion is welcome here. We believe that we learn and grow by having people challenge, of course, our opinions, our views, and our positions. Number 2, no racial epithets are allowed. No epithets of any kind are allowed here on the platform. We believe in facts over feelings. So if you disagree with someone, you challenge the argument, not the person. You challenge the argument, not the person. Last but not least, you challenge the argument, not the person. We believe that it's extremely junior high, sophomorish behavior to attack the person. And then, of course, no fundamentally false statements. You can give your opinion, but an opinion and a statement of fact are two different things. For example, you could be of the prevaricating opinion that LeBron James is the greatest basketball player ever, right? However, if you were to claim that LeBron James is the GOAT simply because of Michael Jordan only won 2 championships, now you're making a false statement. Michael Jordan didn't win 2 championships, he won 6, right? And so we want to make sure that we are cognizant of the difference between, of course, an opinion and a fact, because we don't want to be in a space where we're disseminating misinformation, false information. We believe that brothers and sisters come to the platform because they not only want to learn and grow, but they're seeking incisive and tangible solutions to the daily issues that we face, irrespective of where we are on the planet. So we want to make sure that if we're making a statement of fact, it's been fact checked. Ashe, of course, Black Power. So with that being said, family, last but not least, our mission is either to exonerate or vilify, but to simply challenge conventional wisdom and re-examine what has previously been accepted as fact. So I want to thank you all for tapping in and helping us usher in, of course, the first day of Black Love Days, which is an annual celebration that takes place February 13th through the 15th. For many, Black Love Days is an African-centered alternative to the conspicuous consumption of Valentine's Day, right? Black Love Days is based on 5 core tenets. Once again, family, five core tenets: love of the creator, love of self, love of the Black community, love of Black people, and of course, love for family. So once again, family, If you are unfamiliar with Black Love Days, you can of course put a 1 in the chat. If you are familiar with Black Love Days, I'm sorry, you can put a 1 in the chat. If you're unfamiliar, put a 2 in the chat. The link is in the description. I'm gonna put the link in the chat, family, and I hope we can have a great conversation regarding Black Love Days, particularly the question, what does it take to achieve Black love? So tap in, family. Want to hear from you all, particularly regarding the question. Emmanuel Briggs, appreciate you. So I got to ask you the question, what does it take to achieve Black love? Of course, this is opinion-based, right? This is an opinion, not a statement of fact. But I would argue, as well as the sister who created Black Love Days, sister from DC, shout out to Chocolate City. And of course, we will, of course, highlight how Black Love Days was created momentarily. Want to hear from you all regarding how we can achieve Black love in the community. I would argue that we need more love in the community. We know, unfortunately, the nuclear Black family is nearly dead, almost obsolete. We know that, unfortunately, we make up over half of the homicides in America, violent Black on Black crime. Many sociologists, of course, psychologists argue part of that is due to a lack of self-love, right? Many would argue self-hate. So definitely want you all to tap in, be part of the conversation. Once again, the link is in the description, and we're going to put the link in the chat here, family. And want to hear from you all regarding how do we create Black love? How do we create Black love? How do we achieve Black love? What does it take to achieve Black love? Once again, family, if you want to cam up, you do not have to use your actual name. You can use a pseudonym to protect your identity. And you do not have to cam up to be part of the conversation. So if you want to tap in, be part of the convo, you don't have to worry about maybe being on screen, so on and so forth. You may be at work, maybe getting off work, you may be driving, etc. But want to get your opinion in terms of how we can create Black love. So definitely want to hear from you all. Let us know your thoughts. Right, if you're watching on Twitter, you can slide over, of course, here on YouTube. We want to hear from you all in terms of what does it take to achieve Black love? What is Black love? What does Black love look like to you? So these are some of the questions we are asking, and would love to hear from you all regarding your thoughts. So tap in, family. The link's in the description. The link is in the chat. And I'm going to share this article from the New York Times regarding what is Black Love Days. And that I can read this, and hopefully we get some brothers and sisters to tap in, be part of the convo this afternoon, heading into the evening. Okay. So as you can see, what is Black Love Day? On February 13th, 1993. So we're talking about 32 years ago, Ayo Handy Kendi, a community organizer and native of Washington, D.C., created the holiday to celebrate communal love and Black pride, love and pride in being unapologetically Black. So this is the sister, a picture of the sister, also known as Mama Ayo, in, of course, the Northwest quadrant of Washington, D.C. While February 13th is not a federal holiday, a deeply meaningful celebration rooted in the Black community exists. Black Love Day. The first Black Love Day was established on February 13th, 1993, when Ayo Handy Kendi, a spiritual community organizer, felt compelled by a high power to bring her community together. She said in an interview with the New York Times. The first sign came on New Year's Eve 1992 after she saw Spike Lee's film Malcolm X, which followed the life of the civil rights leader of the same name, portrayed by Denzel Washington. On the bus ride home, she said she reflected on the assassination of Malcolm X and heard a voice to creator speak to her. How did Black Love Day begin? A decade prior, Miss Handy Kendi founded the African American Holiday Expo in Washington to promote Black businesses and the observance of holidays celebrating Black history, like Kwanzaa. She then created the African American Holiday Association, a nonprofit that encourages the celebration of alternative holidays focused on Black history and the preservation of Black culture in 1989. In 1993, the creator, Miss Handy Kendi, told the Times, instructed her to organize the first Black Love Day. She hosted the event, which resembles the Expo's gathering of Black vendors and artisans, at Mayor Sharon Prax Dixon's office in the Northwest quadrant of Washington, D.C., drawing from her own experiences in the history of the Black community. Ms. Handy Kendi, 72, affectionately known as Mama Ayo, now lives in Capitol Heights, Maryland. For the last 50 years, she has been practicing and leading breath work in which she guides individuals and groups through breathing techniques to help promote mental, physical, and spiritual well-being. She is also a community organizer and anti-violence and social justice initiatives. While she credits the inception of Black Love Day to divine intervention, she acknowledges today's connection to Black History Month. Black Love Day gives us that chance to bond and reconnect around who we really are as a people, she said, not only to be proud of our accomplishments, but to be unapologetically Black and feel good about that. How celebrated Black Love Day and its rituals are guided by the original 5 tenets: love for the Creator, love for self, love for the Black family, love for the Black community, and love for Black people. Celebrating Black Love Day is about acknowledging those tenets throughout the day. Ms. Handy Kendi said, and can evolve a ceremony to honor Black love and relationships. It's not where you go on Black Love Day, it's what you do on Black Love Day, she said. The Black Love book by Ms. Handy Kendi outlines ways to practice those values, including a reconciliation ritual in which someone chooses to apologize and forgive someone in front of others or in private. Ms. Handy Kendi created the ritual in 1994 after the death of her 17-year-old son, Rashid Malik Handy. When you lose a loved one, sometimes you think, how do I get revenge? How do I get the people who hurt me? She said. And so in one of the Black love and relationship ceremonies, I stood up and forgave the person that took the life of my son. Who can celebrate? Black Love Day differs from the more mainstream Valentine's Day, often instead a day dedicated to prioritizing self-love and forgiveness as a means of spreading love in the Black community. Her hope is to help drive a shift in consciousness, she said, in which practicing the tenets can help people be more open to giving and receiving love. Despite pushback from some people in the Black community, Ms. Handy Kendi revised the last tenet in 1994 to include that white people should also participate in the holiday by showing love through action. White people, she said, could begin to inspect their own prejudices and begin to make an effort to have real quality conversations with people that didn't look like them. So, family, Black Love Days in a nutshell. Want to hear from you all. What are your thoughts on Black Love Days? Starts with love of self, and then afterwards love for your people. Absolutely, 100%. Once again, family, link is in the description. Link is in the chat. How do we achieve Black love? That is the conversation for today. Happy Black Love Days to all of the viewers, right? Everyone in the Black community globally. Want to wish a special happy Black Love Days. But I want to hear from you all in terms of what does it take to achieve Black love? What does that look like, right? And I definitely, what I like about Black Love Days is that the first act of love you must engage in is the act of love towards yourself. And we're not talking about going to Baskin Robbins and sampling all 32 flavors. Something meaningful, something reflective. I like the concept of maybe a healing ritual, reconciliation. I think we need a lot of that in our community. I am an advocate of Black Love Days. I first learned about Black Love Days, if I remember correctly, maybe in 2009. So it's been about 16 years, right, since I first learned about Black Love Days. And I've been celebrating Black Love Days ever since. So definitely want you all to tap in, family, be part of the conversation as we seek to grow the platform and the channel. Of course, you're watching Lumumba Speaks in conjunction with Beacon Network, the Pan-African social media extraordinaire, and the home of African-centered news and information. Want to hear from you all. You could put, of course, a comment in the chat, but would love for you to tap in and be part of the conversation. What does it take to achieve Black love? How do we achieve Black love? And what are your thoughts on Sister Kendi adding white people to the celebration? The fact that she states the white people are able to use Black Love Days as a way to examine their own prejudice, right? Would love to hear from you all regarding those issues here, of course, at LumumbaSpeaks.com, at Black Empowerment Initiative, where we believe we can gain competitive advantage by always betting on Black in conjunction with Beacon Network, the Pan-African social media extraordinaire, and the home of African-centered news and information. So tap in, family. The link's in the description. The link is in the chat. And if you're watching, make sure you hit the subscribe and the like button. Thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up, as well as the notification bell for, of course, future notifications on our videos. So tap in, family. The link's in the description. Link is in the chat. I don't want to do all the talking on today's show. I don't think I am an expert about anything, let alone love, right? But definitely want to hear from you all regarding what does it take to achieve Black love. Once again, if you want to join the conversation, the link's in the description, the link is in the chat, and we're looking forward to hearing from you. You do not have to cam up to be part of the convo. Once again, you do not, keyword not, you do not have to cam up to be part of the conversation. And you can use a pseudonym to protect your identity. Many of us have particular jobs that may be public facing or maybe even political in nature, to where you may make comments that cause angst amongst particular demographics, even your work group. So I can definitely understand that. But once again, you do not have to cam up, and you can, of course, use a pseudonym to be part of the show. Tap in, family. The link is in the description. The link is in the chat. We're waiting to hear from you. The question is, what does it take to achieve Black love? And then, of course, secondary question is, what does Black love look like? Okay. Manuel Briggs, I don't care what white people do as long as we love ourselves. Absolutely, I would agree 100%. I think that's what's most important. We know when Malcolm came back from his Hajj and his numerous visits on the continent, travels on the continent, his sojourn on the continent, the conversation was, can there be Black or white unity? Brother Malcolm, also known as El Hajj Malik El Shabazz, stated no. We need to have first Black unity before we can have Black-white unity. We have to be acceptable and loving and caring and towards each other, towards ourselves, before we can look to be any of those things with anyone else. So I'm with you 100%. Appreciate you. You're driving and listening. But I agree 100%. If the major issue is we have to make sure that we love ourselves, and we know, unfortunately, during the Ma'afa, the Holocaust of colonialism, imperialism, racism, and slavery, part of that process, that colonial process, that enslavement process, that chattel enslavement process, was to what? Psychologically brainwash our ancestors, and of course their descendants, in which we are, into hating not only who we are, but that derives from us, right? So I think when we talk about Black Love Days, achieving Black love, what that looks like, I would make the argument that part of that is rooted in unapologetically loving who we are as African people, unapologetically loving who we are as African people, holistically, right? Not part-time, not sometimes, but holistically. So once again, family, the link is in the description. Link is in the chat. You do not have to come up to be part of the conversation. Happy Black Love Days. The first day of Black Love Days, February 13th, 14th, and 15th. Of course, this is seen as an alternative, an African-centered alternative to the conspicuous consumption of Valentine's Day. Would love to hear from you all regarding what does it take to achieve Black love? What does Black love look like? And of course, last but not least, what are your thoughts on Sister Kendi opening up, of course, Black Love Days for, of course, those who aren't in our community, particularly them folks, as a way to examine their own prejudice and have what many would argue are courageous conversations around, of course, injustice, structural barriers to Black achievement, so on and so forth. So once again, family, the link is in the description. The link is in the chat. We want to hear from you all here on Thursday evening, February 13th, 2025, where we're celebrating helping usher in day one of Black Love Days. What does it take to achieve Black love? It's the question, and we know we want to celebrate all five parts, five core tenets of Black Love Days: love of the Creator, love of self, love of family, love of community, and of course, love of our race. So, once again, family, tap in, be part of the conversation. Would love to hear from you all regarding the question. The operative question is, what does it take to achieve Black love? What does Black love look like, family? So, once again, the link is in the description, link is in the chat. I want to hear from you all. What does it take to achieve Black love? What does Black love look like? So, hope to hear from you all soon. Tap in, family, be part of the conversation. Be part of the conversation. Once again, you're watching again, competitive advantage by always betting on Black. And of course, Beacon Line Network, the Pan-African social media extraordinaire, and the home of African-centered news and information. And we're discussing helping usher in Black Love Day. So definitely want to hear from you all, family. tap in, be part of the conversation this evening, right? Where we're discussing Black Love Days. Are you familiar with Black Love Days? Put a 1 in the chat if you were familiar with Black Love Days. Put a 2 in the chat if you were unfamiliar with Black Love Days. And of course, family, do you believe Black Love Days is needed? Right? Do you believe Black Love Days is needed? Is it needed? Is it necessary? Would you celebrate Black Love Days? There's a lot of questions that, of course, we can ask here. So shout out to EJ Cannon, E Money in the building. So we want to hear from you all. What does that look like? It says Black Love feels, looks like unity. Okay. Okay. Unfamiliar is unfamiliar with Black Love Days. Okay. Interesting. Okay. Do you plan to celebrate Black Love Days? To learn about it more, are you open to celebrating Black Love Days as an alternative to Valentine's Day? So, of course, there's a number of questions that we can ask, family, but what we need more than anything is for you all to tap in and be part of the conversation. That's what we need more than anything. So, tap in, family, be part of the convo as we're seeking look like. What does Black love look like? What does it take to achieve Black love? And of course, what does Black love look like? So definitely tap in, family. Once again, you don't have to be an expert on this matter, right? We just want to hear from you all. And the question that we're really asking is it possible? Is it possible to achieve Black love? What does Black love look like? What does it take? All right, what are some core tenets? We know what the core tenets of Black Love Days are, but are those core tenets for Black love? That's the question we're asking. We'd love to hear from you all. Make sure you tap in, hit the subscribe, hit the like button, thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up. Let me see here. So another comment. I would definitely be celebrating this more, and thank you for bringing me this information. Absolutely, no problem. This is what we're here for. Put the link, of course, to the New York Times article, which was written last year, in the chat. So as you can see, definitely, yeah, I learned about Black Love Days from Dr. Boyka S. Tway at St. Clair Community College in 2008, 2009. And so I've been celebrating Black Love Days ever since. So definitely wanted to give you all a shout out. We know there's more holidays than just MLK Day, Juneteenth, and Kwanzaa, right? We actually celebrate throughout the year. So want to make sure that we're making people aware of these things. On April 20th, for example, is African Freedom Fighters Day. Many people may be unaware that April 20th is a holiday. No, we're not talking about 420, but people are simply smoking Mary Jane. But April 20th is African Freedom Fighters Day because that is the day, according to legend, that Harriet Tubman began her work, her revolutionary work on the Underground Railroad, freeing brothers and sisters and taking them via the Underground Railroad to freedom in the North. So definitely want to give a shout out to all of the African-centered Black holidays in the world. Right. I know January 2nd is Ancestors Day in Haiti. Right. So we definitely want to give a shout out. And one of the things we're going to seek to do on the platform is highlight the different holiday cultural celebrations throughout the African world. So we're truly bringing the Pan-African vibe, a Pan-African nature to the platform. So once again, family, I'm appreciative of everyone tapping in, commenting, particularly Emmanuel Briggs, but if not, we're going to have to move forward and shut things down. So definitely hope that some of you all can tap in and be part of the conversation and really discuss with us, what does it take to achieve Black love? What does it take to achieve Black love? And of course, the operative question, the follow-up question is, what does Black love look like? So definitely hope you all can tap in, family. Once again, if you want to be part of the conversation, you do not have to cam up. Keyword, you do not have to cam up. And you can use a pseudonym to protect your identity. So tap in, family, be part of the conversation. You're watching, of course, LumumbaSpeaks.com, a Black empowerment initiative where we believe we can gain a competitive advantage by always betting on Black. And, of course, Bequaline Network, the Pan-African social media extraordinaire in the home of African-centered news and information. Tap in, family, be part of the conversation as we're celebrating Black Love Day. We're ushering in the first day of Black Love Day, which of course was created on February 1993, due in part to the unfortunate, senseless, of course, violent death of Sister Kendi's son. And according from the information I've read, when I first was introduced to Black Love Days, she was asked, well, how can we solve this problem in the community? And she stated part of the way to solve this problem is to bring more love into the community. So I definitely would agree with that, family. So want you all to tap in, want you all to tap in, be part of the conversation this evening. The question is, what does it take to achieve Black love? Well, so Zongo Native, that's a great question. Hopefully you could tap in. Well, Black love as between both genders, love period in the Black community. So we're not just talking about romantic love. It could be, it doesn't have to be just romantic. It could be familial. It could be platonic. I would argue we need more love in the Black community, period, irrespective of where we are on the planet. And so definitely want to hear from you all. Tap in, be part of the conversation. Sister Ali, appreciate you giving us the heart. Tap in, sister, be part of the conversation. Share with us, what are your thoughts? How, what does it take to achieve Black love? And how do we achieve it? And what does it look like? Definitely want to hear from you all. We're celebrating, of course, ushering in the first day of Black Love Days, a 3-day holiday, February 13th, 14th, and 15th. The link is in the description, family. The link is in the chat. Tap in. Don't be shy. Waiting to hear from you all regarding what does it take to achieve Black love. So we're talking about romantic love. We're talking about parochial love. We're talking love in a multifaceted capacity. I would argue one of the tenets of Black Love Days, of course, is what love of community, love of the race. I think we need a lot of that in the community as well. But LMA, what say you?
How you doing? Dr. Lamuma, can you hear me okay?
I hear you just fine, brother.
Yeah, man. Yeah. To your point, I was listening in. Like I said, it's a tough question, and I thought about it, and it's a very tough question, especially when you talk about like just love in general, like not like a romantic love, but just a
Right.
genuine like a kinship. Like like every now and again, I'll walk across, maybe I go up to the city or DC or whatever, and I'll we'll bump into somebody, like I said, like at a line or whatever, and y'all just exchange pleasantries. Nothing, you know uh, like I said, if it's a woman, you just exchanging pleasantries. There's no motive for sexual motive, nothing like that. It's just just exchanging good vibes or whatever. And I think that that comes with a certain level of, I guess, social, economic, and political stability.
Okay.
Because when I think about like the kind of dysfunction we see with certain people, how they always think, negatively of uh, the opposite gender, how that's a lot of trauma that they've been through. That that's where it comes from. Like if you think about this red pill movement that's been going on for the last couple of years, some of it is is observation, but I think a lot of it is just pain, right? So if you go through a traumatic experience, or you are at the bottom of the social economic ladder, and you're trying to navigate romantic spaces, social spaces, and you're constantly getting rejected, constantly getting uh, how can I say it? Yeah, just rejected. That can make someone feel jaded. And if you have
Disrespect.
a certain view of the world, like if you got a jaded sense of especially with the black community, it's gonna be hard for you to love the black community when you have that type of trauma. So for me, I think that one, it starts with like you said, loving yourself and just getting how can I put it? Just doing the self work, like going maybe going to therapy, doing some self reflection, because like I said, it's going to be hard. Like I said, if your mama won't shit, your daddy won't shit, you know what I'm saying, and now you're trying to navigate this, like I said, especially on the internet, it can be a very hostile world. You know what I'm saying? You can run into some people that just as messed up as you, and then you tend to paint the entire uh, community with that brush. You know what I'm saying? So to me, I think we had to get rid of this kind of dysfunctional rot
That's a
that's
great
set
point.
into the set into, like once you get rid of, not gonna say once you get rid of that, but I believe that once you get rid of that, then we can begin to start looking at you know, your fellow black person, as a friend rather than an enemy. And I think that's where it begins. So I'll let Zongo Nation get some time in.
Overstood.
Greetings to you,
Absolutely.
Dr. Lumumba, LMA, and the chat. Well, I mean, for me, well, that's a very tough question. So I don't want to like really go like theoretically, but just based on my own personal experience, I mean, just growing up within my own nuclear extended family in Ghana, West Africa. I mean, I've never really heard my parents saying "I love you" in the local language, but as compared to like what is like widely being expressed in Western culture, right? But then I never had a doubt that my family never, loved me, even though they never like verbally expressed it. But I understood that
Yes, sir.
through the provision of providing me shelter, taking me to school, providing me food to eat. When I go wrong, they discipline me. I
Mhm.
mean, I mean, they buy me gifts. These are the elements that that I kind of witnessed growing up, and to me, that is an expression of love. Even though they never like
Yes, sir.
verbally said that. Even between my both parents, I never even said them expressing like like as you see in Western culture as emotions. You don't see that in the culture over there. But then
Right.
there's no doubt that you do see an expression of love too when you see they provide you this, thing. They take you to school, they do this, they do that to you. When you go wrong, you get disciplined. And generally, you wouldn't understand that until you go and like, that's the reason why I
Hmm.
was disciplined for doing that, right? But then outside of the immediate family, in the community, my understanding was that is just exchanging pleasantries when you meet someone, greetings, asking someone how they are, how does their family, their extended family, their health conditions. When you're a kid, you do something wrong, the society, discipline you, and if you come and report to your parents, and if your action are wrong, your parents is going to support the person who actually disciplined you. So for me, I mean,
Right.
that was really um
Yeah, that was my
understanding.
experience as well.
I'm sorry, say it again.
That was my experience as well.
Oh, that's my experience. So for me, that was really some element of love for me within my immediate family, and society as well. I mean, everybody like shows care for you. Something is wrong with you. They ask you, "Hey, well, what's wrong with you?" Like just showing care is also an expression of love to me as well. Yeah, I'll just leave it over here.
Yeah, and I just want to say, so Sister Shy, Mary, you got to tap in and be part of the conversation. You've been a subscriber for a while. We need you to tap in and be part of the convo. But yeah, growing up, my parents didn't say "I love you" much, right? They didn't say that a lot, but I knew they did for the same reasons Brother Zongo discussed. And I remember saying to myself, when I have children, I would be very loving and affectionate to them. And of course I was. Now they're teenagers now. They don't want me being affectionate now, right? But when they were toddlers, when they were and children, before they became big kids, I would spend a lot of time being affectionate, being loving, kissing them, hugging them, telling them how great they are, how much they mean to me. And I just felt a need and desire and a belief that that was needed and necessary to help
Yeah,
in terms of their self-esteem. So now, of course, the teenagers now, 17 and 15, like don't touch me, don't kiss me, give me money and food, right? That's how it works now, right? But I do recall growing up. So then they got to the point to where, and this kind of, is bringing a smile to my face. I'm being a bit nostalgic here. How, they got to the point where they was like, well, don't let daddy kiss you because his kisses will make you weak, right? So then it was a big thing. Like,
yeah,
I snuck and kissed them, they would wipe it off, like, oh, wipe it off so it don't count. But just I think it's needed and necessary at times,
yeah,
particularly
yeah.
with young
Like I
children.
was, yeah,
Yeah,
I agree. Especially like growing up as a kid, I was a very recalcitrant kid. I did a lot of bad things, and I get disciplined. I have to, um, but a lot of times I just never understood that until I grew up. I'm like, oh man, that was really a good, expression of love from my parents. Actually,
right.
I remember there was one time my older brother Like when you used to like get out in the morning, I mean, he never comes back all until in the evening. And my dad was always busy working. He sometimes comes like every now and then, right? When he heard that, it was like, nah, that is not good for the kid. So he just never left him over there. He just sent him to a boarding school.
Mm,
And he went to a boarding school after like 5 years time. When he came back home, he was reformed. He never went outside. He never mingled with bad company, and he was just always um, at home. And he met new friends from the boarding school that he went to. His overall outlook of life, was not just within the immediate community where he came from, because he has seen different, he has like more exposure with different group from elsewhere. So, so these are little elements that kind of indicates to me it's an expression of love, growing up. Yeah.
absolutely. So Sister Shy says, I didn't see her states her grandparents, they slept in separate beds, right? So I did see that. I saw that with some people's grandparents, they would sleep in separate beds. Now my parents are of the grandparent age. Actually, my parents are great grandparents now, and they still sleep in the same bed. So, right, nasty, right, but but yeah. So but it is something I did see growing up, to where my grandparents or other people's grandparents slept in different rooms and different separate beds. So Sister Edie says, I grew up in a small town. Black love was smiling and saying hello to another person just because they're black. Got it. So the sense of solidarity, I think that's what Emmanuel was talking about. That sense of solidarity, showing love. I carried that with me to college and found it right away. That's not part of the culture. So what do you mean by that's not part of the culture? What are you referring to? But so LMA and Sister Shy, you got to tap in. I mean, I've been knowing you. You've been tapping in, supporting the show since 2022, I believe. Need you to tap in and be part of the conversation. The link's in the description. The link is in the chat. We need to hear from some of the sisters. Appreciate your sister. Appreciate you pulling up, ready to spin that block, right? So I'm going to start with Brother LMA. We're going to ask the question, what does it take to achieve Black love? Brother LMA, who dribbles down in VA.
Say that one more time.
What does it take to achieve Black love? And this is opinion based, so I mean, you can
Yeah,
pontificate with the best of.
I think at this point it's just you just have to have a understand that what's on the other side of you, particularly for a black man, what's on the other side of you loving a black woman, like just having a legacy. If you're, for certain black people, it's just a non-starter, right? You got a couple of people who like to play in the snow. That's just what they're
Well,
on. You can't
what
reach.
do you mean by that, brother LMA?
But
I'm messing
don't
with
like to play in snow. Yeah, exactly. So some brothers they're like that. They just like to play in snow. But like if you are, you know, want to see black people in the future, you want to see this black people, productive black people in the future. There's only one way. There's only one person. Only one thing you can do to get that, and that's going
you.
to be through black love. So I'm not saying that it has to be. There's a utilitarian portion of black love, but I think it's just, you know, even for myself, I wasn't always the most how can I put it, racially enlightened person that I am now. And I had to have a little, awakening. And when I did, man, it was a weird like feeling, like I went from being how can I put it, Uncle Ruckus to Malcolm X. When I made that jump, it was like it was the craziest thing. Like just I would just see people and like I would have a feeling of like just almost like not unity, but just like there was a community there. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying? And so, like I said, once I saw that, I was just like, yeah, there was once I went through that change, there was no looking back. Like they
So I,
okay,
I
yeah,
gotta
go ahead.
ask the question
What's
because
that?
I mean I only know you as you, right?
Yeah, yeah.
How in the French toast were you Uncle Ruckus? Like
I
where
was
did that come to be?
maybe not Uncle Ruckus, but I was more or less on the Thomas Sowell type of train. Like that
Okay,
was that was
got
that was the train. I,
okay,
I
okay,
say Uncle Ruckus joke, but I was on that
okay, got you.
black conservative train. Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So was that due to maybe the military background?
Uh, yes and no. When I was in the military, I hung around a lot of conservatives, and they would have, talk about politics and philosophy and stuff like that. And I never, never had any discussions like that. So of course, if that's all you're around, and I do have an interest, I do have I guess, a natural interest in politics and philosophy. So if that's all I'm around and that's all I pick up, then I'm just going to become whatever my environment is. And then, over time, just kind of thinking of, I had my little moment, and it was just like, oh, I think I've been, I had, what's it called, a little paradigm shift. And once I had that, it was just like, yeah, there's no turning back, you know? So,
Okay, very good. Sister Shy, Brother Zongo, I hope you don't mind. We're going to jump you in line very quickly just to make way for our sister. Mary Shy, you could tap in, if you could share with us your opinion. What does it take to achieve Black love? And of course, what does Black love look like? And of course, happy Black Love Day, sister.
Okay, hello. Can everyone hear me?
Yes, we can.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I kind of came in late. Could you please explain what the show's about and more about what Black Love Day is? Because I think you did I think you spoke something about it on Facebook a long time ago, but
Mm.
I just don't remember. I'm sorry.
No, it's quite all right. So yeah, Black Love Days is an annual celebration, 3 day celebration, February 13th through the 15th. Black Love Days is considered by many an African-centered alternative to the conspicuous consumption of Valentine's Day. Right? Black Love Days has 5 core tenets: love of the Creator, love of self, love of family, love of community, and of course, love of the Black race. And the first act of love that you must engage in during Black Love Days is the act of love towards yourself. There's also a focus on reconciliation and healing and creating meaningful social bonds between brothers and sisters in the community rather than focusing on materialism and, of course, conspicuous consumption.
Okay, thank you. What does Black love look to me? Okay, well, like seeing more of Black couples, like seeing that they're in love and caring for each other, respecting each other, protecting each other. That's what it looks like to me. You don't have to shower each other with like gifts and anything. So it's not about materialistic things. It's more about like love and caring for each other, respecting each other, showing loyalty, things like that. So that's what it means to me.
Okay. Okay.
Mhm.
And how do you achieve that, in your opinion?
Um, like maybe like more Black marriages. Maybe like more Black marriages. Let's see. Um,
And I would argue, I make the argument that one of the ways Black love can manifest, and one of the ways it would actually be tangible, is we saw less Black on Black crime,
yes, definitely.
particularly violent crime. And this is just my opinion. Of course, this isn't a statement of fact. I'm just my opinion would be we would see our brothers and sisters being less violent with each other, not only just physically, but verbally and emotionally.
Yes, and
Oftentimes in popular culture, this type of animus, particularly the emotional and verbal animus, where we're set tripping and we're banging on each other, is it oftentimes promoted by the popular culture.
right, and no gender war too.
Right,
All this
right,
Black gender war stuff is
right.
is bad.
Okay,
So
yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. Zongo native, what say you?
Yeah, I mean, I would say like because for me, I grew up in both two different continents.
Right,
I grew up in Ghana, right, and also living in America right now. So
and
I
you're
grew up.
in Washington State, correct?
Yeah, I'm in Washington State. Yeah, and I mean, growing up in Ghana, like this idea of black love is not even. It's not even a conversation because you grew up where everybody's black.
Right,
Like you gotta love your family, being part of the community. You gotta like contribute to the community during like community activities. Attending to naming ceremony, marriage ceremonies. Things that really contribute to the greater growth and development of the community and to the nation at large, right? So I mean, it was, and one thing that was kind of a little bit surprising to me when I came to the U.S. that I met a few black men when it comes to like gender love was when I heard some few black males that say, "Oh man, I don't date black women." For me, it was really hard to really
Mm.
grasp, right? Because even though you might really have attraction towards like, because it's very natural, every group tend to have some sort of there's a small faction within the greater group that tend to have you know attraction in other groups. It's like that in every group, right? But then in Ghana, definitely you're gonna find a section of Ghanaians that might want to marry people from different places, but you rarely hear them say. Well, I'll just say myself. I've never heard people say, "Oh, I don't like people from my own group. I just date." It's kind of really hard to kind of really grasp because for me, I was like, "Why would you say that?" And even though, like, if you want to date someone from outside of your own group, that's really understandable. But why would you make a very a strong statement that, oh no, I don't date people of my own, you know. So I mean, it was really something that has been really hard for me to grasp ever since I came over here in the U.S. But I guess that's really also understandable because black people are a minority in a different group dominated society, so they tend to, it's kind of really challenging. I don't know, maybe you guys growing up they might be able to explain that. Um, but I mean, way to achieve that, is with a nuclear family, having a black, the white black woman families, you know.
Okay. And very quickly, Melanated Goddess says Black people are starting to not value marriage, unfortunately, and we don't vet partners in the areas that count, leads to dysfunctional relationships. I could agree there. Tap in, sister. Would love to hear from you regarding what do you believe it takes to achieve Black love. Of course, what Black love looks like. Emmanuel states more Black healthy marriages and relationships, more Black love amongst Black people worldwide. Definitely, there's violence in the community. And Sister Ely says, I noticed many Black weddings prefer no children at the event. So, and you mean at the wedding or at the, of course, reception? So let us know what you mean there. Any other thoughts, family, in terms of? So let me ask this question, of course, to the brothers and sisters who are here on the panel. Well, you're right. It just set a positive example for the next generation. That's a great point. Great point. What are you all going to do to celebrate Black Love Days this weekend?
Oh, I mean, this weekend.
Yes.
Uh,
Putting y'all on the spot. On the spot.
Marisha, you want to go
Um,
first?
I actually work this weekend, so um, I
Getting
guess
that
I won't be
paper. I
doing
got
anything.
you. Okay.
Mhm.
Okay.
I was gonna say not a damn thing.
Okay. 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 I'm going to engage in some self care.
Well, for me, yeah. I mean, yeah, you're right. Self care. I do agree that. Outside of that, I do have a. I mean, because I live in a predominantly white area, so I would say generally I have a just my black. I have a black friend that I mostly go outside with, mostly in the weekend. So yeah, so most of the time we do go outside, just to socialize and meet people, and just hang out, pretty much.
Okay. Very good. Very good, family. Final thoughts before we wrap up. I definitely appreciate everyone tapping in. Sister Melanie that got us. We can hold off and keep things going if you want to tap in and be part of the conversation. We'd love to hear from you. Make sure if you're watching family that you've hit the subscribe and the like button, thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up, as well as the notification bell. Of course, you're watching Lumumba Speaks here on YouTube at Black Empowerment Initiative, where we believe we can gain a competitive advantage by always betting on Black in conjunction with Beacon Network, the Pan African social media extraordinaire, and the home of African centered news and information. Final thoughts, family.
There's one point that I wanted to bring up earlier. Kind of goes along with what I was saying. There's also, and we don't
Okay.
maybe we don't like think of it like this, but there is a financial component to love in general, but black love, because like say if you want to express your love,
Mm,
it's a lot easier when you got a couple of commas in your bank account you know. And I'm not saying that you gotta like be balling out of control, but like if
Okay.
you really want to, you know, spend quality, I mean, quality time. And I'm not talking about, you know, taking her to a trip to the south of France on a whim, but just like, being able to provide that stability. You know what I'm saying? Like for instance, if you just want to stay at home and watch Netflix, or just kind of do stuff like that. That kind of, how can I put it, greases the gears a lot more than just being broke. Because like I said, if you are financially struggling, that's going to put a lot of stress on your relationship, and it could be a good relationship, but like you have the relationship and then you have the stressors in the relationship. How do you handle stress? How do you handle your needs not being met? So I think that there's a big financial component to love in general, and I think that uh, that's something that we need to take into account, or at least try to find ways, inexpensive ways of showing your love.
Yes, I agree. I
Absolutely.
agree with that. It's nothing wrong with like going to the park and having like a little picnic and stuff like that. I prefer that than going to expensive restaurants, spending money on unnecessary things. I mean, I'm not saying it's not okay to do that every now and then, but I just feel like, for me, in my opinion, I'm a frugal person, and I don't agree on spending money on unnecessary things like that. So I do agree with you.
Yeah, man. I mean, I think maybe because like if, if you live in the Western advanced Western society, yeah, obviously like the dynamic might be a little different, but growing up in Ghana, I mean, financial component. Of course, you need money to be able to date, but you don't need it much. As it has been, mostly expressed in Western society. You just need just enough to be able to provide for a family. You know, just need just enough to be able to provide for a family. Some people do not get to even travel in other regions within their own country. Talk less of trying to travel all the way to France just to just to sustain, black life. I think sometimes it just depends on how you you view the whole world. Some people
Gotcha.
just
Okay.
being able to provide, being in good relationship with other people, just being a productive member of the society is just sufficient. So that's really my point of view. It's not really about
Right.
I mean, you need finance, but not highly like high amount of money just to be able to sustain how and sustain black love. Just need something moderate, depending on the society where you come from. So I'm just trying more
Gotcha.
highlight
So
more
ladies
of
first.
the African perspective.
Oh,
Go ahead. I would
gotcha.
say
Gotcha. Race
I would
first
just
states first, committing yourself to the race.
no, I would say I was just highlighting for
So
more
many feel like all
people.
race.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I was
No,
saying
go ahead.
I was just highlighting from people that grew up or are living in Africa, pretty much. Yes.
Okay. Very good. Very good. And Sister Melanie, the goddess states, Groupon is my best friend. I think a man is smart if he uses Groupon. If he uses Groupon on dates with me, no excuse why we can't do something with Groupon. Eventbrite Meetup app has free events also. Nowadays people are going to say, well, he must be dusty, right? He must be a
Yeah, like I
brokey if
said, you gotta
he's
be careful.
seeking to say.
If he's using
So
Groupon,
it's
you
just
better
going, of
keep it
course,
on the low.
depend on who you're dealing
I
with. Right.
I agree. I
Go right
sorry.
ahead,
I
sister.
I agree with Melanated Goddess. Um, like I don't care what those other girls think. I mean, calling somebody dusty, for like spending less on the date. I'd rather my man, we save that money to invest in land or invest in a business instead of spending our money on what $200 dinner dates, when we can save that money, invest in that money in land or business, or something where we can have passive income. So whatever those other girls, what they do, that I mean, that's what they do. But if they think a man's dusty because he wants to save money, um, and not spending on unnecessary things, that I think that's crazy. But I'll just stop right there.
Can I make a
And
statement? Can I
uh,
make a statement? Just a statement, right?
Okay,
I mean, this
please
not
go
to
right
say
ahead.
like this not to say like in Ghana, like people don't really do dating or something like that. But this whole idea of dating, I actually really understood that or start hearing about that when I came to the US. Actually, you know, and when I grew up,
Right.
like I'd never heard of like dating. The idea of dating was something like not even conceivable to me. You know, this is not to say that. It's not really practiced in Ghana, but just the community where I grew up in Ghana.
Yeah.
It's
'Cause
just something. Just
and if you could correct me, but right, yeah, typically, if you're on the continent and you're seeing someone, it's it's serious. You are engaging in the manner to which it's supposed to lead to marriage.
yes, yes, yes. This not to say like they people that the modern day Africans they do date. It's just because like because I grew up in a small community with a Muslim background, and a lot of time they don't not just not to say even the Muslims do not really practice that, but it's not something that is within the culture, the language that we speak, like dating idea is not really within it. If that really makes sense, because like English is not like we only listen to hear English when we watch the TV or watch movies, but outside of that,
No,
as
I understand.
when you interact with people, you speak the local language, and the language that I speak, dating is not even something that is known. I mean, people go out. If you meet a lady that you do like, the end goal should lead to marriage. But this not to say that people don't really, actually go out or something. But the concept of Western dating is not the same as back home. I'll just put it that way. Because I had to learn that all when
Okay,
I came here.
very good.
Sometimes,
Melanated goddess. Okay, melanated goddess. I hope you could tap in, be part of the conversation. The link is in the description. The link is in the chat. So definitely hope you could tap in, be part of the combo. Same with you, Briggs, Sister Ely. Go right ahead, Zongo.
so, I would say a lot of times when I date women from here, I sometimes I just let them know off from hey, I don't really understand the Western concept of dating. So if you can brief me, that would be great. Then I'll just move from there. And sometimes they are really very nice and they kind of teach you something like that. So I don't act like I know
Yeah.
everything. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah,
uh,
just put it that
well,
way.
you be playing
Brother
ignorant. I
Element.
see what you doing.
Yeah, yeah.
I
But
was gonna make a
but
joke.
I don't
Melanated
understand.
God is gonna.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
Go
oh yeah.
ahead, sir.
I was gonna make a joke.
Go ahead. Go ahead,
Yeah,
man.
I was gonna say Melanated Goddess is gonna have you in a group chat. You know what I'm saying? Clowning you because you came up there with a Groupon. But but no, that's. I mean, I was just bringing it up to say that economically, you need to be economically stable, and if you're not economically stable, it's going to add some stressors to your life, and some relationships can only deal with so much stress. That was the point I was
Right.
making.
Okay, I agree. I agree. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, but this is what I don't understand. Why do we have to make dating so complicated? Like, why can't we, why can't couples just go somewhere and enjoy their time? Like, we make things so complicated. Like choosing where to go, just like how the one lady, she didn't like the man that took her to the cheesecake factory and stuff like that. Like, why do
Yeah,
we?
I saw that. That went viral.
Yeah, I'm like, why do we make stuff so difficult? Like, I mean, uh, I don't know.
So,
I
so,
just,
I,
I
I,
just,
so let me take a stab at that. I would argue that it is in part due to a Western feminist sense of entitlement.
Yeah.
I would make that argument.
yeah,
There's
yeah,
a
I agree
concept.
with that.
There's a concept in feminism known as called the disposable male. Literally, this is the term. I have the literature right behind me here. This disposable male, and you could use the man for whatever you want. It could be financial, it could be physical, it could be emotional, whatever. But he's disposable. This concept that the man is fungible, easily to replace,
Yeah.
right? But I
But
also would argue that if you find, so some find a situation in which a person says, if we're going on the first date, you got to spend $350, $500 on me. That may be not the that's not the person you want to be with. That also states that the person's validation or pseudo self-esteem
Yeah,
comes from the amount of money that's spent on them. And many would argue that that is a form uh, pseudo prostitution.
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Because
even
for the
like for me,
prostitute, for the woman who, of course, is a lady of the night, her value based on her job comes from how much a man is willing to spend to have a night with her, to engage with her.
yeah,
So, and
but yeah,
I argue that part of this is rooted to stripper culture going mainstream, to where everything now is transactional.
yeah, I agree. I agree, Lumumba. I definitely agree because a lot
I
of
agree.
times, if I'm taking you to a date, it's either we just going to ball, we going for balling. That's for the first date. We're not going to eat or something, Probably go for like a tea or coffee, date or something like that. Just go talk and just know ourselves. And if you don't like it, I'm not gonna spend too much time on you. Because I mean, going to like date dating, that is like a little, the latter period, right? But for the first time, it's gonna be something a little, cheap. Someone myself, man, Zango is cheap. But
But you
I
know
mean,
what's though?
I'm just playing it safe, in the Western society.
But you know what, Zongo though? To be honest, I'd rather not even go on a dinner date either. I'd rather go somewhere to the park and look at the flowers and things like that. Because first of all, I don't need to be going to a dinner date anyway because I need to lose weight. So that's one thing of that too. But
Mhm.
I like the simple things like going to the park and stuff like that, things like that. Like it doesn't have to be expensive, and it's a shame that it's gotten to the point like that where you got to spend a whole bunch of money. A woman prefers a man to spend a whole bunch of money on a date. That's crazy. So
But Lumba, do you also think also like sometimes we tend to use like for instance like the cheesecake factory kind of thing issue that went viral. We tend to use that to kind of assess what really goes on within our immediate surrounding, like because like the girls, probably the girls that I meet or either one meet in real life, they don't have such kind of demand. So why do we use those kind of situations as a standard to measure what really goes within our immediate environment? Because a lot of the
Well,
times there's a
so I would make
go ahead.
the argument some of it is generational, right? But and if you're dealing with women of a younger generation, you tend to find that this type of behavior is very common. And I'm glad you brought that up because Dr. T. Hassan Johnson, I had him on the platform back I think back in October, and of course we talked about his groundbreaking book, Solutions to Anti-Black Misandry, and he talked about these issues, right? And the courses that he teaches. And many of the women would say, "I don't know anyone who acts that way." And then all of the young men would say, I know women who behave that way and they're in my family. So I would argue that maybe you're able to duck and dodge, right? Women who behave that way. But there is a large segment just of the women in America now who are taking on this prevaricating belief that if you want to have an interest in me, you have to do what? Apply pressure. And applying pressure is being financially generous with the woman. I'll give you
Mm,
an example. I had a young lady once. We met, and we get the first conversation we had. She was dry begging, telling me she needed help paying her bills.
yeah,
And
I'm not gonna. Yeah, I wouldn't take it serious. Like when I hear you speaking that on the
that's
first.
crazy.
yeah,
Wow.
and I remember my uncle told me he was like, this is prominent," and it happened to me.
Yeah, and
First
generally,
conversation we
when
had on the phone, when she was dry begging.
yeah, and also like generally when the lady kind of sees you that you're a little bit kind of like you know, whatever she says, she just agrees to it. Like she's gonna take advantage of you. This is very common, not just only in America, it's everywhere actually.
Mhm. Yeah.
In fact, in Africa, it's very prevalent over there. They take advantage of, you know. In fact, when I was in Ghana, it was more prevalent until I came to the US that, I had to let, nah, man, you don't have to, be always
Right.
like yielding to the demand of the women all the time, you know. So yeah, I
Right.
agree. I agree with that point, though.
Okay. Very good. Very good. Any final thoughts before we close out, family?
Is there any like a Pan African approach to dating? Because as myself, I mean, I grew up in a Muslim uh, culture, kind of mixed with African culture, pretty much. Also, but one thing that I do know, um, even here, like for instance, like when you go interact with a lot of Muslims, and if you wanna get married. And sometimes there are females that are looking for men to get married, and there are men that are also looking for females to get married. And generally, they just make like they interview you, they sit down, hold a conversation with you. They just want to make sure like you pass certain like um certain requirement, like do you pray, do you do this, are you part of the society, and then you go and meet the girl, and then you hold a conversation, and then if you guys like each other, it doesn't even take much time. Then you just get married. They do that within the Muslim community,
Right.
even here in the U.S. too. Actually, do Pan Africans also have like some sort of approach as well?
So yeah, I would say it would be unofficial, and that the process, the approach that one would have from a Pan African frame of reference would be really rooted in traditional African culture, in which you meet the individual's family, the family meets you, your families come together, have conversations, and then basically the elders in the family kind of sit down and discuss: do you believe that our son or our daughter is good for they're good for each other?
Oh, okay. It's the same. It's the same
So I
thing
would
in
say it's
Muslim.
unofficial. I would say it's unofficial.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Oh, good.
Snapshot reviews. What's the word?
Good evening. Sorry I'm late to the party. I just saw this now.
Quite all right. Quite all right. We all know what's going on. You was over there. You know what I'm saying? You was not messing with you, brother.
So the question is about how do we achieve black love? Is that right?
Yes. What does it take to achieve black love, and what does black love look like to you?
I think like when it comes to like relationships, one of the things that is like really important that I think a lot of people just overlook is just knowing that your values align. Like and just really having that time to just really speak to your partner about like or even like the beginning stage, like where you're just first getting to know each other, you're really trying to work out whether you've got the same values, because that is what's going to take you through thick or thin, when times are hard, and the smooth sailings as well. So I think that's one thing as well. And I think when you are sort of like when you are dating someone who's of the same culture of you, or even someone who's from another part of the diaspora, you have that through line where there's that connection that you can get to that you don't necessarily get if you're dating someone who's from outside of the diaspora. So that's one thing. I think it is quite tricky sometimes in the West to like find black love, because there are a lot of people in the community that seem to value having partners and relationships outside of the community, which is one thing. But in terms of like just sort of like how you find it, it really does start with that. But a lot of people try and rush, so you've got to really take your time to like really get to know the person. And just don't be in a hurry to like really rush into it. Most relationships that I've seen work have been relationships where the guy's been a little bit older than the girl. But yeah, I think starting off with like understanding each other's values and stuff like that, and then working through that and just taking that time, because I don't think anyone should be considering marriage until you know someone for at least 2 years, because that way then you've seen them through all kinds of trials and tribulations and tests and things like that and stuff, and you know how you resolve problems. And a key thing as well is getting to know that person's family, and getting to see how they observing them interacting with their family as well. Because if you do get married, you're marrying into that family as well. So you've got to have an eye on what those dynamics are like as well. So yeah, that's some of the advice that I would give.
Great
Oh,
point.
do you think the timeline is really like needed though? I mean, because
Absolutely,
I think so.
absolutely. Hold on,
You
look,
have
I'm
to
gonna tap in. Absolutely. Matter of fact, some of the best advice I ever got about marrying someone was from my first sergeant when I was in the army, and he stated, "If you can't tell me 5 to 7 things you don't like about that person, you don't know them well enough."
Mm,
And I can say, speak from experience, as someone who got married to someone I had only known for 5 months, back when I was
yeah.
22 years old. I realized I did not know the person, and the woman turned out to be batshit crazy.
You can't
She
know
talked, she
someone.
said all the right things. We had the interview
Yeah,
basically, and she answered the questions. She was extremely
yeah,
loquacious and intelligent and charismatic.
Mhm.
The woman was cuckoo for damn cocoa puffs.
yeah. And I say 2 years because literally you will see, like, that would be really
Every
hard for
side of
someone to
someone.
keep up a pretense for two
Yep.
years. You will see the seasons over that period of
yeah,
time.
but I mean, does it really take 2 years to know a person? I mean, you can take like probably like 5 months if you live within the same community within a close distance and
No,
you go outside on like
no,
mostly
no.
you talk all the
I'm
time.
speaking.
Right,
I'm
right.
speaking
Think,
from
all right.
I'm
Think
speaking.
about it
Hold
like
on,
this, right?
hold on, real quick, real
I'll
quick.
go.
I'm speaking from experience. You do not know a person in 5 months. Not enough to plan to spend a lifetime with them. You don't.
If yeah, if you're dating someone, let's say you're dating someone and it's over 5 months, you're probably only seeing them like 1 day a week if you add up the time together because you're going to work,
Hmm.
you're not living in the same house or whatever. So really and truly, what's that? 20 days is how much time you've spent with them over 5 months. That's not enough. It's not long enough. The vetting process, this is where I think a lot of people go wrong in relationships, is that I don't think a lot of people know how to vet partners properly, especially if you're coming from a community where you might not necessarily have, like, some communities have like matchmakers and they know other families and they know that there's some eligible bachelors over there or some
Hmm.
eligible.
Yeah, yeah.
So like, if you don't have that network, you're really just going out there dating to see if you might find something. And so many people end up getting married when really and truly it was just hookup, really. And then you realize you don't actually have anything in common with this person. And that's the thing. You have to, I know I started off by saying values, but also having things in common with that person is so key. Like, do they understand you don't have to share the same hobbies, but do they understand your hobby? Do you understand theirs? Like, do you know what I mean? The things that make up that whole character, because it's everything that it amalgamates and comes together. But also you've got to observe them in the presence of their family, especially their daughters with their fathers and the mothers with their sons. You've got to see that demographic, and you're not doing that in 20 days for aka 5 months. It's just not. You have to really take your time with it, and that's another reason why I say the guy typically should be older than the girl, because the women are a bit more mature than the guy. So if you're dating
Yeah.
or someone who's your age, he's a little bit more mature than you. But also, the closer you are to like 35, 40, her clock is ticking, her biological clock is ticking. So therefore, it's going to speed up the need for you to commit and have that child. And she might not be the right person, but if she was a little bit younger, you might have a little bit more time to get to know her. And that's where I think a lot of people go wrong. They don't have that time.
Yeah, I think maybe the society kind of plays a part too as well, because I grew up in a society where even people, you got married and it was within a short period of time they've lived for ages and never even got divorced, you know.
Mm, mm,
And also, you see like the upbringing of some women in different cultures and societies is a little different. It's more
yeah,
like they kind of train the women to be,
a wife.
a wife. You get what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah,
So maybe I guess from that angle you can say maybe the time, like, because growing up even in Ghana, I'm not saying there's no even divorce from the culture, like where I grew up, for instance, right? Even I used to go to wedding ceremonies in Ghana. When most women, they advise the lady, hey, there's always going to be a problem. That's on the last day of the marriage, because like these the Muslim, the Ghanaian Muslim culture kind of marriage, they
Hmm.
advise them that, hey, on the last day, the older women that have been in marriage for longer years, they advise there's always going to be a problem. You have to, your man has to be, you have to let your man lead, and they kind of advise her that even if there's an issue, don't pack your bags and leave. Just
Mm,
stay there. The families are not always going to just accept you if there's issues, because there's always they understand and they recognize that there's always going to be problems in marriages, right? But it
yeah,
doesn't justify that you just got to get up and just go. They're
yeah,
always going to find a way to,
yeah,
find a solution to the problem.
yeah. Now,
That's the point I'm trying to make.
yeah, and there are a lot of women out there, unfortunately, that their female support network is made up of majority of women who are not married. So therefore, they are not even equipped to give her advice.
Okay, so it kind of makes it. So you got to
Yeah,
take time and know the person. Okay, that kind of makes sense.
yeah,
That kind of really makes sense. Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Because I think I was coming back from a more like African centric point of view. That when you
Yeah,
meet
I'm
someone, you
keen to hear more about that. To be honest, like
which,
just yeah, any sort of insight you can give or stuff. I'm always curious to learn about how other parts of the diaspora handle this. Where I live in the UK, quite a lot of the Caribbean women are not married.
yeah,
Um,
because in Africa, if you meet a woman that is, because most of the women, because you don't hear this a lot of this nonsense that you see on the internet or in the Western society, saying they don't need no man. A lot of them, in fact, actually, it's kind of wide in the society that when you reach certain age, you gotta get married.
mm,
And a lot of them, even from where I grew up, most women, when they, I mean, from the Ghanaian Muslim kind of point of view, when they reach certain age, they even start, saving money just to help their husbands to get, like, when they get married, they contribute to the family household. They
yeah,
buy stuff, they save money. They even have this associate a group kind of thing that when I get married, we use the money to help with my marriage, and when your time comes, we're gonna use this contribution to help your marriage too. It's like a susu kind of thing, right?
yeah,
So it's kind of ingrained. It's kind of widened them to like they really want to get married, you know. And
yeah,
just like Lumumba explained, as far as like the marriage is concerned, you see someone that you really showed interest in, and if she really have the intention of getting married to you, she's not gonna tell you to go for a date with her. She's gonna invite you to her home where you're gonna meet her dad and family. That's a sign that the lady really likes you and she's kind of like wanting to kind of like settle down. And then you meet you there here and there. You introduce her to your family too. Your family, both families do a background check about um, yourselves, like who you are, what is your family history, any sickness.
yeah,
You get what I'm saying? Like, so they really do. The families do background checks of
yeah,
both people, you know, and
yeah,
if they find you is very suitable, they're gonna agree to that, and they're gonna make things really happy. And I grew up in a community. Even my parents, for instance, they didn't know. They didn't know. My mom got married at the age of 18. They didn't know that like much, but they've been married for how many years? 30 something years.
yeah,
So and there's quite a number of people within the community that I knew personally that get married and they've been there for very. It has to do a lot about society too. The culture, like the culture, kind of promotes marriage. Stay, not divorce. Like people frown upon divorce. Like they don't want you to come back. It's not like when a man is violent, you gotta really stay, right? But
yeah,
knowing that the man is violent is also part of doing the background check of the person. Does he has a criminal history? Does he has this and that?
yeah.
Because like you said, marriage is not about both like parties. You also marrying the family of
Yeah,
like both like
of the person.
yeah, you get what I'm saying. So they do really a background check. This not to say that there isn't marriages that they do find issues with.
Yeah,
Yeah, but for the most part, like you rarely hear about divorce issues actually, especially where I grew up. No, I
So
mean,
with
it's just
with these type of marriages, when they have come together with mutual agreement and the families have met and stuff, the couple might not know each other for very long. Is that right?
yes,
So do they? Because I've got some friends in other communities, and they say that they've got their parents got married in this similar sort of circumstance, but over time they fall in love.
exactly. That's the same thing too. That's
Yeah,
the same thing with my parents too.
yeah,
And I'm a strong believer of that. That you can't really, no matter how long it takes you to know someone.
yeah.
I mean, people change along the way, you know,
Hmm.
because you can meet a person and over time you just develop some sort of hate for the same person. So you just don't know. Like no matter how long it takes you, you still wouldn't be able to know the person.
Yeah, maybe, but I think
But I think the society also plays a factor too, and I do agree with what you're saying because I think here in the U.S. you
yeah,
really want to take time to know a person because who's actually helping you to do the background check about a lady? Who?
exactly.
You meet the lady online, you meet her outside.
Yeah,
Who's really helping you to do the background check? Do
and
you know
it's
her
probably
friends? Hmm?
like in the West, it's probably no one. It's probably you going out on a date with this girl and you fancy her, you got some sort of attraction, and you're kind of going by that. And the sad thing is, when there are things that might go wrong in a relationship, people are just like, oh, well, that's their relationship, we'll stay out of it, sort of thing. There's no one to really turn to for like any sort of advice or anything like that. I always used to joke to my friends, I used to say, if you can survive um going on holiday, living with someone, and a trip to IKEA with your partner, then you're on a good you're on a good trajectory there, because those are three instances where you actually get to see the person up close. Because you go on holiday with them, it's just you and them in this foreign land. Yeah, you're on holiday, but you you're relying on each other a little bit. You know what I mean? You know, if
Hmm.
you can be in their presence for a prolonged period of time and still have things to talk about. Do you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah,
And something like that, living together, that's when you really see the other person, because you're seeing them every day. You might see some of their bad habits or whatever.
that you don't like. Yeah.
Something is that something you can put up with? Is that something you got to work on with and that? And then the last one, surviving the trip to IKEA, well, that's all about patience. Like it's like,
Yeah, but it's not something because like even like there's this Akan like proverb say when it comes to marriage they say like a warrior climb war. It means you see the path to marriage is very long.
mhm,
So like the ancestors already knew about marriage, like the issues that comes with marriage.
yeah,
A
yeah,
lot of time just don't ask our great grandfathers about so we can really learn into that stuff. Because there's always going to be problems in marriage. There's always
mm,
going to be problems. But does that justify you just getting up and leave? That's the
mm,
question.
yeah. Is anyone on the panel married?
No.
No. Okay.
Are you?
I'm engaged.
Oh, you get, so that's a good thing in the West.
I'm engaged. So
In the West, sometimes too, like the laws of the society also kind of influences how people make their decisions. Because here, it's kind of like really dicey situation that you don't want to, settle down with the wrong person.
mm,
You have kids, and then the government comes into, you know what I'm saying, like, so it kind of influences people's behaviors and choices too as well,
yeah.
unlike in different societies. And I do agree with what you said about the matchmakers too, because even here in the U.S., within the small Muslim groups that I know personally,
Mm,
sometimes they do help people to do like with matchmaking kind of like stuff too as well.
yeah.
They take the numbers of the man, the woman, they try to match them together, and that's how they get to know yeah, themselves.
Yeah, you might not otherwise meet if not for that network. So
What you,
you know,
what you say?
I said you might not otherwise meet that person if it wasn't for a network like that.
Oh, of course. Here in the
Yeah,
U.S., of course, of
yeah,
course. For me, preferably, I like to meet someone not within the same network, because
Yeah.
being part of like a more like a Islamic, it's almost part of. I kind of view that like being part of a cult or something like that. And I don't know, man. It's just too much oversight on you. I just want to be somewhat in
Did
the
you
real
marry
world.
someone who wasn't Muslim?
Could I? Yeah, of course. Why not?
Yeah.
Of
Oh,
course.
okay. All right. Okay.
Yeah, of course. Of
Would
course.
there
Why
be an expectation for her to become Muslim, or could she remain in her faith if she had a different religion?
not? No, not really. Not really to me. Not really.
Okay. All right.
I mean, we have to have like values that almost kind of align.
Yeah.
There shouldn't
Yeah.
be some sort of conflict.
Yeah. Okay.
Especially here in America, most people over here I know that are really religious like that. So
So Zongo,
Does that narrow your
I got a
pool?
question for you. So what are you? Are you saying that you're authoritative? You're authoritarian?
in terms of what did you say? What
I'm
was?
just messing with you, man. I'm just messing with you.
Did I say something that kind of
No,
suggest that
not,
I was?
not at all. I'm just messing with you.
Yeah, yeah, nah, man, nah, I'm not.
So
It's
leading
just
with
like
faith, and that
it's
narrows.
just like it's just like Lumumba. Because for me, I'm a very like cultural person, right? But where I grew up, like my group, historically, they are like Hausa in Hausa and different Hausa ethnic group and a different ethnic group, Kotsikoli. These groups historically they've been Islamized for a very long time. They've lost really their individuals like culture, authentic like kind of culture. So we just get stuck within what we have within the group. And if you want to like relate with people within the same group, you have to have some sort of understanding about uh, the religion that they practice. If that really makes sense to you.
So if you met a Ghanaian girl that was woman, I should say, Ghanaian woman that was really cultured and all that stuff, but she just wasn't Muslim, there wouldn't be a chance of you and her.
I wouldn't have personally. I wouldn't have an issue, but
Yeah.
in African society, when you get married, it's not just about you, but also your family also have a say. They might try to influence your decision as to who you want to settle down with. Preferably, they might want like the family, extended family, and the community. Preferably, might want you to settle down with someone that comes from, like you said, from the same values, same religion as you are. So I tend to avoid,
Yeah.
for me, if you live in the West, you don't have no family that's gonna dictate what you want to do. So for me, I like it that way over here. That I can
Mm,
really get along with anybody that I want.
yeah. Okay. Dr. Lumumba.
Like to me, what you're saying is you're a wild boy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now I'm messing with you. So real quick, we got a question here from Brother Sandman. And make sure if you're watching, hit the subscribe and the like button. Thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up. Don't forget it. I need you to tap into, be part of the conversation. It's Mary Shy, why don't you think more sisters don't join the show? That's a good question. We platform is open to sisters, but a lot of sisters just don't tap in. I don't know why.
Yeah,
Maybe you need to do a ladies' night or ladies' panel.
it would be great to hear their perspective too. That would be great.
Okay, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do a ladies' night.
Yeah, because it's too toxic. Always sharing from this red pill, all those. Anytime I even I see them on my algorithm on my YouTube. I don't even try to listen to that because it's too toxic for me. I don't
Yeah.
want to listen to stuff like that. And so
Yeah.
I'm glad that you did a show about this kind of topic that people who are really the majority, but you don't tend to hear their viewpoint on the various like social media platform tend to have a say.
Right.
Because I kind of feel like the majority tend not to speak most, even on this very social media platform. It's only the minority that tend to have the most voice,
Yeah.
and they tend to dictate the narrative. As
Yeah.
Steve is the representative of how people kind of think in real life.
Mm.
Got you.
What thoughts did you have around achieving black love, Dr. Lumumba?
Say that again.
The question for the show is, how do you achieve black love? What was your input? What were your thoughts on?
I mean, how you gonna do me like that, brother? Just put me on
Oh,
the
right. I missed the beginning, right? So I didn't know what you.
Yeah, so I mean, I think it's multifaceted. I would argue. So, for example, I think one, to truly be able to love yourself and others, you have to have the ability to have imposed self-discipline and self-control. I think if you're someone who is emotionally erratic, someone who's emotionally immature, there's no way that you can adequately or in a healthy manner love anyone, let alone yourself.
That's true.
Right. So I think that would be one. I would argue another aspect would be, if you truly love someone, you love community, you are actively engaging in actions that are rooted in care, concern, and consideration.
So let me
Yeah.
ask you guys this question: since you guys live in the West, like you, Lamuba and Snapshot, tend to hold a view that uh, you need to meet the person for a longer period, especially living in the West, to kind of settle down with the person.
Right.
Because
Mhm.
we live in this Western society. It's not really kind of designed like us other countries. Because you really live where you find the nearest job. Sometimes work takes you to far distances where you
Hmm.
don't even see a lot of black people over there. So how are you gonna meet someone in a predominantly white area, and then you still would able to know the person? It's gonna be a big challenge too.
Yeah, that is true. And I had this very same conversation with my cousin a little while ago. But
Oh,
I
really?
believe, yeah, because like he tried to say to me that the reason he's not dating or he doesn't date black women is that there are no black women where he lives or near where he works and stuff. And I'm just like, well, how hard are you looking? Like I do generally believe that people attract what they want, and you would, I don't know, I
No,
don't
I've
I don't know how to answer it without giving anything that's like a woolly sort of like answer to it. But I generally find that if people know what they want, they find a way to gravitate towards it, or it comes to them. So
mm,
regardless of where you are, it might not necessarily be that much of an issue, especially now with like social media, and you can message people and find
no,
people.
but like sometimes, right? Even like on social media, even on online dating platform or something like that.
Mm,
If you live, like in the case of the U.S., if you live in a predominantly white society, there's the likelihood that you might meet a black person that live within your proximity is very low as compared to far distances where there's a majority black people living over there.
yeah,
If you change your location to those far distances, sometimes these black women, they're gonna tell you like, "Hey man, you live far away." It's almost like you live in a different country to them, right?
yeah,
Yeah, they might just call out. Some women are gonna say, "No, I like the person that looks close by." Actually,
yeah. I mean,
yeah, yeah, a lot of women are gonna tell you that.
there isn't like, I suppose there's not like a one size fits all sort of answer to it. But
Yeah,
if you know like certain places where you're more likely to run into someone that you're looking for, and you're just on the scene, really.
yeah.
That's
Lamuba, one thing I also want to add too, right? Because sometimes it's not just having those kind of like, it's not just being black alone. Like Snapshot said earlier, sometimes you also have similar cultural values, right? Because even like here in the U.S. within the Muslim groups over here, there are some groups. For me personally, my observation, just within the area where I stay, with some of the black folks, uh, if you want to meet someone like a Muslim woman that's probably have similar values as you, sometimes the culture, it's kind of almost like they are too much ingrained in our Arabic Islamic culture, and I'm like, okay, I get it, you're black, but I don't want to be too much ingrained in Arabic Islamic culture, right? I'm like, nah, man. I'm like, I'm not gonna come all the way to US and be part of this bullshit. You know what I'm saying? I like, I'll rather like prefer someone who might be even have more American values than, you get what I'm saying? Like the maybe far distance cultural values, you know?
I understand where you're coming from. Yes, I understand. Really quickly, Sister Shy says sometimes she feels that she's not intelligent enough to or smart enough to join the discussion. But Sister, I would disagree. And we've talked about this before. I think the reality of the situation is you are organic intellectual, right? You are organic intellectuals. A lot of times, and most of our people are organic intellectuals. We may not have mastered the academic language or verbiage regarding a particular issue, but our lived experiences allow us to be, of course, organic intellectuals. Very quick, don't forget it. You said just say you want a white girl. So you're attacking the person, not the argument. That's not something that we do here at the beginning of each show. We go over our ground rules, and one of the ground rules is facts over feelings. So you attack the argument, not the person. So please don't do that anymore. If you want to join the conversation, you're more than welcome to do so. But we don't attack the person. We attack the argument at the
Oh,
person.
is it? Oh, is the person referring to me?
I don't know, don't care, but I'm just putting that out there. So
Zongo,
this is Mr. Sky says maybe being less judgmental, and sometimes some brothers attack sisters and vice versa. Also, men tend to talk over women. That's true, right? But I don't allow people to attack anyone on my
Yeah,
platform.
no,
You know that. Under the ground rules,
not on
I
this
don't
show.
allow that. So you're welcome anytime.
so Zongo native, are you finding it difficult to talk to American women?
Oh no. Mm-mm.
Oh, okay, all right. Oh,
But a lot of time it has to do more with you have to have similar values. You get what I'm saying? Especially with if you really want to settle down. You know, just don't want like just uh just having fun is just not enough. It's not enough, right?
yeah.
You want someone that you want to. If you want to settle down, I mean, as someone grew up in Ghana, like if I really want to settle down, I'm like, okay, I don't want someone who's gonna get up one day and say I'm gone. You get what I'm saying? So you gotta look too much beyond like the surface, you know? You
Yeah.
gotta go deeper. Similar values, where she coming from, you know, her background is much more deeper than just superficial.
Okay.
So once again, you're still attacking the person, right? Cool, he's a little immature. We don't attack the person, we attack the argument. So because of that, I'm gonna have to ban you from the show.
Uh,
And so, as you all know, family, I'm consistent with this across the board. I don't allow people to do that. It's a juvenile, it's sophomorish. We are adults, and we want to have intellectually inclined, intellectually centered conversations, right? And so, unfortunately, we tend to find this a lot on these platforms, even in the community, where individuals come on and they act like they're 12 years old. They want to attack people. We don't do that here. People say, well, that's why your show wasn't growing. Fine. My show doesn't have to grow. But I don't like being in proximity or community with people who behave that way. And I never will. You can say I got to stick up my ass. I'm a curmudgeon. I have a cantankerous disposition. So what? I'll call it principle, not personal. I wasn't raised that way. I don't act that way. I don't like being around people in community or proximity with people who behave that way. So if you come on my platform, you want to be juvenile, call people names and so on and so forth. I don't care who you are, what you're about, what country you're from, how much work you put in, you get the boot.
Mm-hmm.
Can I get an Ashe Black Power for that type of Black love? Right? Because if we really believe in Black love, we shouldn't be attacking each other.
Yeah,
We shouldn't be putting each other down.
Yep.
You could disagree with someone without doing that.
yeah. I mean, I think it tends to happen a lot more online. It tends to just tag you. Oh, just say you want this. So I'm like, no. I mean, because like it's something that's uh like you Snapshot was saying, even in the UK he had a similar conversation with his cousin, right? And it is rightly true, because if you go to like the people that stay in like the different professional world, you know, you work from Mondays to like Fridays on the weekend. I mean, you got to go out and socialize. Where do you get to meet the people? It's kind of really challenging, you know. And sometimes some people might even advise you that back in the days, if you used to watch like Kevin Samuel's show, he's gonna advise you what you gotta move and go to a different city. Actually,
Yeah, it's
Right.
not
But
always.
Kevin Samuels
Yeah.
says a lot of
Is
stuff.
it?
No, I was just saying in reference to like some of the sisters that do have challenge finding men, black men that he wanted. So he advised them like maybe just move to a place that has a lot of predominant black people. That, I was just speaking in reference to that regard.
Mm.
Yeah.
I mean, he was a mixed bag anyway. But one of the things that he said that I didn't agree with that.
Yeah, I don't want to
He's
say
not really someone you want to quote because
Yeah,
there were times where he made claims that were on point and times where he was just way off base. And I'll give an example. And this is why I don't think you should get advice from YouTube or TikTok therapists or relationship experts, right? You actually see someone who's a licensed clinician.
yeah,
There was a time on his show, let me turn my camera on, then we're going to wrap up in a minute. There was a time where Kevin Samuels was on this show and he stated, sisters, I'm telling you, and there's a lot of background noise. So Zongo, you might want to, okay, you were just laughing. Okay. There was a time where he said, sisters, I'm telling you, black men, brothers, we do not want you all wearing weave. We don't even want you to straighten your hair. We want that natural afro, da 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 da. Cool. Cool. He's advocating for sisters going natural. We know that tends to be an issue for some sisters, particularly psychologically and socially, and even oftentimes professionally, right? Due to the multifaceted nature of misogynoir black women face, right? 2 months later, he goes on his platform, and the sister's like, well, you know, I'm working in corporate America, but it's very difficult for me because they want me to straighten my hair. And I just ended up quitting. And he says, I don't see what the problem is. You got a job, do what the white man wants. You see the contradiction here.
yeah. He used to tell black men to cut off their dreadlocks as well.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, that's
yeah, very quickly. So what we tend to find with Kevin Samuels, and we don't want to make this a referendum on Kevin Samuels, right? When we talk about black love and what it means, right? But what we tend to find with Kevin Samuels is he changes his argument based on who he's talking to.
Yeah.
Right, but no, but I mean that's literally what he does. He changes his argument based on who he's talking to.
Yeah.
Right. One minute he's big upping Malcolm X and Dr. King for being black men who stood up against white supremacy. And you look at his video a year later, he's talking about why we still worried about that type of crap.
Yeah.
1 minute he's saying, hey, you should be okay with being with a regular guy. There's another time I saw a video where he tells where he's telling a woman, ha, you ain't gonna be able to get a high value man. You better be happy driving a Hyundai with a brother that got a Hyundai. Contradiction of the highest order.
Yeah, but even if you really want to have, a good partner, you don't need to be a high value. Actually, you just need someone that have similar values as you, that had the same end goal as you, want to start a family. You just want to settle down with a person. Why is even a high value even a point of conversation? But anyway, that's like you said.
Right.
You just
A
don't want.
conversation for another day. Yeah. So what
Yeah.
I'm going to do a show titled "For Sisters Only," right? And we want to hear the sisters' point of view. So yeah, we're actually going to set that up. So brothers, you got to sit back and actually watch and listen. I just want to hear from the sisters in terms of what they think and what's important to them. So
Can we also come and ask them questions? We don't, not to make statement, but just ask questions.
Yeah.
Or we can put it in the chat. However they want it.
Yeah, I think this would be a good time to do with Valentine's coming up, and I don't know how soon you're going to do it, but like I think
absolutely. So I'm gonna let Zongo Native and Snapshot reviews. I'm gonna let you all say your piece, and then we're gonna close out.
Okay. Yeah, I just to wrap up, I just say, look, it starts with yourself. You've got to fix things that's with you first, like make sure you're good. Because if you don't have it to give to yourself, you can't give it to a partner. So, work on yourself and stuff, and take your time. Look for the person's values. Take as much time to be with them around their friends, around their family, and just take your time in getting to know that person and stuff. And that's the advice that I'd give.
Okay. Zongo.
Yeah, I mean the love start like Snapshot said within yourself. You can also learn. You can take some advice. You can take a life experience from your own immediate family, from your society where you grew up, where there's a lot of black people that successful stories. You can actually take cues from that experience and also implement it in your real life, and then you'll be great. Not necessarily just when it comes to relationship, but also living with black people and having a peaceful coexistence among black people, without having to kill themselves wherever there's a misunderstanding or disagreement. There has to be a way that you can take cues from other society, other communities in America, and implement it. So we can have a successful Black communities and Black love. At a smaller scale and at a large scale too as well.
Absolutely. Well, family, y'all know what to do. Until next time, always bet on Black. Peace. Before you go, make sure you hit the subscribe and like button. Thank you for supporting the channel. And remember, here at Lumumba Speaks, we always bet on Black. Peace.